Hey everybody, it's Kina again, back with another painting for you. Sorry this one's so late. I've had a bit of a rough week with some just mental troubles, and then I also haven't had the mental capabilities lately to actually go through and do all the editing for this video. I've had it recorded for 2 weeks now, basically, and I've been sitting there like, I need to work on this. And it just hasn't happened. So, sorry for that. Here we've got my, not really latest painting at this point, but latest recorded painting, let's put it that way, of just a cat hanging out on a brick, like, path or something made of brick, with a neat little pentacle necklace. So originally, like, the plan for this painting wasn't supposed to be, like, just a cat with a necklace, like a pentacle necklace. It was supposed to be this, like, really big, fancy cat with all sorts of, like, adornments all over it, and then I had no idea where to go with that. So, pentacle necklace it was. So, as per usual, we just start out with my line art, because, I don't know, I literally learned most of my artistic technique from watching speed paints and such, and I always felt kind of cheated when, like, the actual line process wasn't shown. I know other people are always like, I just want to see the coloring process, which, for me personally, it doesn't feel right without showing at least the line art, especially since I don't really show my sketching process. I feel much better showing the lining process as well. So for no particular reason, when I was working on the sketch for this, which took a very long time, much longer than I anticipated, but when I was working on the sketch for this, it just, out of nowhere, became a very personal piece for me. I'm not really sure what it is about it. I mean, like, I'm very much a cat person. I've literally grown up with cats my entire life, and at this point, I need a cat in my life in order to not, like, have every mental problem under the sun plague me for the entirety of existence. But that's an entire different story that we won't be getting into right now. But yeah, like, cats are a really big deal to me, but even so, usually just drawing them and painting them doesn't really affect me that much. But this one, for whatever reason, I was sketching and I'm just like, something about this is really striking a chord with me. It wasn't a bad thing. I enjoy where things went with it, but it was odd. It doesn't usually happen with my paintings, or art in general. So when I was working on the sketch for this, if you look at the bricks, I had to go through, like, the entire perspective aspect of art, which I absolutely hate. I despise working with perspective. Never liked it, ever, in my entire artistic career thus far. Like, we learned about it in, middle school, and I'm sitting there like, I started out, I'm like, oh, this is alright, and then as we go, I'm just like, I hate this. This isn't looking the way I want it to. Everything is terrible. And that was pretty much the entirety of working on the bricks for this one. I ended up redoing the bricks, I think, 3 or 4 times. Just because I could never quite get it the way I wanted it to look. But I kept messing up the perspective thing, and just, it was terrible. So one of the things I like about my art lately is, I have this little project I've been doing for myself called Pride Kittens. They're little stickers I sell on my Redbubble, where it's just a kitten with sexualities have, like, bows with the pride flags, and then, let me think, genders have bandanas, and romantic identities have ties. That's how I'm doing it right. And when I started doing that, I was like, alright, I really need to get my cat anatomy and patterning and such down properly. And I finally worked out how tabby markings work, which was a really big thing for me because I've tried drawing cats my entire life, and I finally started getting the anatomy down a couple years ago, but I could never get tabby markings, and every time I'd come to work on a piece of a cat with a tabby marking, or with tabby markings, I'd be sitting there like, how am I supposed to do this? How do they flow together? I don't understand. And then I finally worked it out when I was working on Pride Kittens, and this guy's finally gotten himself some decent markings, which was a really nice feeling for me. So painting the bricks was a bit of an adventure. I know the pieces I've done so far have all been like full background pieces to some degree or another, even if it isn't a very specific looking background, but like they've all at least been painted for the entire background. But I really don't like doing that, honestly. I don't usually stretch my paper, especially since my current board, for lack of a better term, is literally the back of a drawing pad. So there's no way I can really hold the paper down because I don't have any fancy tape for it or anything, and I can't really staple it reliably into the back of a drawing pad. So I sit there with my nice unstretched paper, and then I cry as I watch it warp, and I just kind of sit there like, alright, I'm just gonna wait for you to dry and stop being warped now. So I was having a lot of that issue because there's a lot of background to get at once with this guy. And when it finally calmed down a bit, I was also having problems with like the color that I used because it didn't quite seem vibrant enough for bricks, which I know is an odd concept, having vibrantly colored bricks, but nothing quite felt right about it. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, how can I do this? And then right about here you see me coming in with a paintbrush around the edges being like, alright, let's try texturing. Maybe adding texture will help somehow. And it did a pretty good job of what I was hoping to achieve with it, which was really nice. So of the pieces I've painted so far, because like I've said a couple times, I'm still really new to watercolor, this has definitely been my favorite so far. It actually, like, I've been trying to steer my art more to a realistic kind of style lately, like not total realism, but getting more to that effect, and it's finally starting to get where I want it to. And this cat just kind of, in a way, it kind of brought it all together for me, and the fact that it was done in watercolor, which is such a new thing for me, just kind of made it that much better. And I don't know, that's about all I got for that. It was very exciting to see it come out as I was working on it. So here you've got me working on some of the shadows, and let me tell you, shading has been one of my favorite aspects of art for a few years now, especially shading furred animals, because there's going into terrible childhood memories. There's a chat site that I was a member of for a long time, and every so often I still go back onto just for the fun of it, but it was a wolf-based chat site, and you could upload your own poses. And I had so much fun with shading those poses. Honestly, it was ridiculous. But it got to the point where, at this point, whenever I work on anything with an animal, I'm just always like, I can't wait to get to adding the fur shading and such. I really enjoy doing the shading for it. No specific reason. I think I worked on this the day I got gel pens for the first time, which was exciting. And that's about that, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like or comment, or if you would like to see more, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.